Tropical cyclone, peak of hurricane season. But still quiet. Good evening to all our viewers following the weather news forecast. Today, we meet again at a special moment of the year. Meteorological records clearly show that September 10th is statistically considered the peak of the Atlantic hurricane season. The time when the number of tropical cyclones usually reaches its highest point. And yet, surprisingly, at this very peak, the entire Atlantic basin, from the waters off Africa, across the Caribbean, and into the Gulf of Mexico, presents a rather quiet picture. No tropical depressions have been identified, and no areas of interest have been highlighted by the National Hurricane Center, NHC, on its official 7-day outlook. Many viewers are asking, does this mean the hurricane season is ending early? Or is this just a temporary calm before the storms truly arrive? To answer this, in today's bulletin we will go into detail, analyzing the latest satellite data, reviewing forecasts from leading models such as ECMWF, Euro, GFS, Euro AI, and most importantly, looking at ensemble guidance. Multiple model scenarios run together. These ensembles often provide a more realistic sense of whether tropical cyclones may or may not form in the 7 to 14-day range. First, let's take a look at the entire Atlantic basin this morning. Satellite imagery shows what looks like a noisy scene. Clusters of high convective clouds with red, orange, and even black tops on infrared imagery, meaning thunderstorms with tall cloud towers. However, when zooming in, we see no organized closed circulation. In simple terms, these are just scattered thunderstorms triggered by cold fronts, upper-level disturbances, or weak tropical waves not yet capable of organizing into a storm. The first noteworthy area is a band of convective clouds stretching off the U.S. East Coast. Some may mistake this for a developing storm. In reality, it's simply the result of a cold front pushing offshore. As cooler continental air collides with warm, moist ocean air, thunderstorms flare up, but without a closed center or cyclonic wind field. In short, it's frontal weather, not a tropical system. Across the Caribbean, scattered showers and storms have popped up, particularly near the Leeward Islands and Puerto Rico. These are tied to passing tropical waves combined with abundant low-level moisture. Yet the mid and upper levels are dominated by dry air and Saharan dust, SAL, drifting westward from Africa. This dry layer cuts off the vertical moisture supply, preventing waves from consolidating into stronger systems. Of note, a tropical wave left the African coast within the past 24 hours. But its starting latitude is relatively high, placing it in a zone of stronger wind shear and shallower ocean heat. Models aren't impressed. Some GFS runs briefly suggest development, but signals vanish in subsequent updates. So in summary, plenty of thunderstorms on the map, but no organized tropical systems. In fact, the NHC confirms no tropical cyclone formation is expected in the next 7 days. This is rare for September 9 to 10, when there's usually at least one or more named storms active in the deep tropics. But present conditions alone don't tell the full story. The bigger question is, what do the forecast models see for the next 1 to 2 weeks? Let's break it down, starting with ECMWF, the Euro model, long considered the most reliable. Its latest run tracks the new African wave. Over days 3 to 5, it only shows scattered rain, with no closed low. Around days 6 to 7, the energy clusters slightly, forming a broad wave, but then drifts northward into hostile conditions and dissipates. Only beyond day 10 does Euro hint at a weak low, occasionally even labeling it as Tropical Storm Gabrielle, the next name on this season's list. Yet this scenario stays offshore, far from land. Meanwhile, near the southeast U.S., Euro shows plenty of moisture but no tropical development. Next is the American GFS model, long familiar to hurricane watchers. But this year it has been inconsistent. Some runs draw strong storms in the western Atlantic or even Gulf of Mexico. Yet the very next run erases them or replaces them with a weak low near the southeast coast. Because of this flip-flop, many forecasters say GFS is interesting but unreliable this season. Still, it occasionally hints at development from the Central American Gyre, CAG, a broad cyclonic circulation over Central America that can spawn tropical systems in both the Pacific and Atlantic. But constant delays in GFS runs lower its credibility. Then we have Euro AI, a newer version enhanced by artificial intelligence. It ignores the current wave, instead focusing on another still over inland Africa. This low rider wave, traveling at lower latitudes, might have more potential. Still, even Euro AI doesn't show strong development within 10 to 15 days. It also hints at a weak low near the Bahamas, more typical of late October patterns. But that's too far out to trust. Comparing these models gives us one clear message: no significant tropical systems in the next 1 to 2 weeks. Euro is cautious. GFS is erratic. Euro AI is quiet. None offer a high confidence threat. Ensemble guidance strengthens this message. The Euro ensemble, with 51 members, shows only a few weak lows in the main development region, MDR. Scattered and unconvincing, the GFS ensemble is more active, with more members suggesting weak signals tied to the new African wave. But consistency is lacking. Both ensembles show slight noise near the southeast US and Caribbean, hinting at possible weak homegrown lows. But nothing major. Overall, the signal is faint. Climatologically, this makes sense. Late September into October is when homegrown storms closer to land often form. As mid-level moisture increases, shear drops, and the MJO, Madden-Julian oscillation, enters a favorable phase. Meanwhile, sea surface temperatures in the Caribbean and Gulf remain above average, around 30 to 31 degrees Celsius, plenty of fuel for storms. Thus, the current calm is likely only temporary, not a sign the season is over. So, after reviewing the basin and the models, we can cautiously conclude: no tropical threats for the next 7 to 10 days. But history and climate signals remind us, late September and October often bring surprises. Today's empty map may look very different within weeks. Switching now to U.S. weather, we see sharp contrasts. Florida continues with daily thunderstorms as a stalled front traps tropical moisture. Farther north into Georgia and the Carolinas, cool air has pushed in, dropping morning temperatures to 18 to 20 degrees Celsius. Even below 15 degrees Celsius in the North Carolina mountains, a taste of fall just across the border. The Northeast sees light rain from an offshore low, making for damp commutes but nothing severe. The central U.S. has strong but isolated thunderstorms in the high plains, capable of gusty winds. Small hail and lightning, though overall risk is low. The Great Lakes and upper Midwest are cooler, with light showers marking fall's arrival. Out west, parts of Oregon and Northern California get some rain, but most inland areas stay dry and hot by day, cool by night. From this map, one theme stands out: the U.S. is a land of seasonal contrasts. Florida feels like midsummer, the southeast tastes autumn, the Midwest cools down, while the west stays dry and warm. Returning to tropical models, many ask, why does GFS keep changing? One run shows a major storm, the next shows nothing? The answer lies in model physics. Forecast models crunch massive amounts of data. When features are weak, like a young tropical wave or lingering front, small changes in input data can drastically alter outputs. GFS, with lower resolution than Euro, often exaggerates weak signals into phantom storms. Forecasters jokingly call this GFS's happy hour. That's why professionals cross-check multiple models and look for consistency across runs before believing any scenario. So what should the public do now? In the short term, the next week, rest assured, no tropical threats loom. Just pay attention to local thunderstorm risks. In the medium term, 2 weeks, stay updated as ensembles hint at scattered signals. In the long term, late September and October, readiness is key. Have your hurricane plan in place, stock batteries, water, medicines, safeguard documents, and know evacuation routes if you live near the coast. Preparation never hurts, as storms can form and intensify rapidly. And finally, a word for the heart. While the tropics are calm, some people may be facing storms in their personal lives. We'd like to share a verse: "My grace is sufficient for you." For my power is made perfect in weakness. A reminder that strength often shines brightest when we feel weakest. If you're battling illness, loss, or fear, remember there is support, there is community, and there is hope. Share your thoughts or prayer requests in the comments. Words of encouragement can be the anchor someone needs. In closing, the peak of hurricane season has arrived. Yet the Atlantic is quiet. Euro remains cautious. GFS inconsistent. Euro AI subdued. Ensembles scattered. All agreeing that no storms are imminent. But history shows late September and October hold surprises. So enjoy today's calm, but stay prepared. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated with our latest forecasts. Wishing you peace and safety. Until our next bulletin.